No one can make me feel anything. We're going to talk about it on today's podcast. Hi, my name is Michael Johnson. I'm a ballroom dance professional, a life coach, and a peak performance expert. I'm part of a group of motivated people who are dedicated to attaining emotional mastery and unlocking our full potential. We've realized life is a dance. The ups and downs can spin you out of your mind, but it's time to take back control. It's time to become a lifer. We don't believe others are responsible for how we feel. In fact, we don't believe anyone can make us feel anything. We are a new breed of overachievers. Emotional mastery is our journey, and unlocking our full potential is the key. Welcome to the journey. We are lifers, and this is Magic for Life. What's up, lifers? Michael Johnson here with the Magic for Life podcast. I'm so glad you joined me today. And as you heard in the intro, nobody can make me feel anything. Now, don't get me wrong. This can be taken in a lot of different ways and be confused about it. And I do know I offend some people out there when I say this. But here's the thing. No one can make you feel anything. And what the heck does that mean exactly? Let's dig into it for just a second. Nobody can stick their hand inside your ear. And I know that's, some of you might say, well, that's semantics. That's little details. But it's true. Nobody can stick their hand inside your brains and make you feel anything. They'd have to stick their hand in there, squeeze the hypothalamus, and pump out the neuropeptides. And those neuropeptides that had emotional signatures would have to flow through your body, and you'd have to feel that way, right? So somebody says, well, okay, and understand this. There are scientists out there that know the exact way that works. And that's great. Good for you. I'm so happy that you know how that works. And I just told you the most layman's version of how your emotional chemicals go through your body, right? I'm sure there's a much fancier and better description than that. But again, we're not talking about that. But the point is simple. No one can go in your head and turn that on for you or do it for you. So how do those things, those emotional states, get into your mind and your body? Well, you had to give meaning to something you saw. So you looked outside yourself and you went, oh, that bear's chasing me. I'm going to be and feel and do afraid. Hey, that's pretty good because that'll keep you alive. Doing afraid, doing fear is important in that instance. Okay, well, what about when somebody says something to you and you go, well, they got me angry? Well, that's true. Okay, maybe it's not true. That's not true, right? They said something that made you angry, and what happened? You thought to yourself, they said that, and therefore it means this, and I'm going to choose to be angry about it. But you could have chosen a different emotion. You say, well, but that was really important to me. Oh, okay, so the meaning was that thing they said was really important to you, so therefore you got angry about it. But you chose to get angry. And you've met people in your world and in your life where you tried to get them angry and it didn't work. Or you tried to get them to laugh and it didn't work because they gave meaning to your situation or to the thing that you did to try to get them to laugh, to try to get them angry, and they gave a different meaning to it. So therefore, you couldn't make them angry. Some people write posts on this on social media all over the place. Everyone, it's a hot topic, right? Oh, I'm so glad that this made me feel this way. Listen, okay, I understand it's semantics. For some people it is semantics. Others it's not. And that just means the little details about it. But the truth of the matter is you gave it meaning. Whatever it was, when you decided to start being happy, feeling happy, it was because you gave the meaning happy to it. And it's that simple. You see, when I see the little Dumbo ride at Disneyland, in my mind, if I picture that and visualize that, it makes me happy. Oh, no, wait, no, that's not how you say it. It doesn't make me happy. I chose to be happy. I decided that I was going to feel happy when I thought of that memory or when I see that. Now, why is that? Well, because I gave it meaning. In my mind, I can see my little JC flying around in the Dumbo ride at Disneyland. And in my mind, that is a happy experience. It's a happy memory. And so I choose to feel happy about that. But there are other people out there that do not like Disneyland. And so no matter what you do, no matter what you tell them about thinking happy thoughts about the Dumbo ride, they're not going to like Disneyland, and therefore they might choose to feel negatively, whatever that means, from their perspective. Nobody can make you feel anything. Guys, you have to start to realize that your meaning, the meaning you give to every situation, then leads to your doing. So you decide what it means, and then you decide what you're going to do about it. And usually that means some type of emotion, because that's what we're here for. We are here to feel emotion and to experience emotion, but not blindly, which means that we have another step in there that we have to get better at. We have to get better at doing emotion through giving meaning to the situations around us. Now, should we not feel emotion? No, that's ridiculous. Emotions are beautiful. All of them are necessary. They're all useful for something. And so I want you to realize that you can do each and every one of them, but you have to practice just like you'd have to practice anything else. Everything you do requires a little bit of practice, a little bit of education, and you might think to yourself, well, I was naturally good at this. Well, maybe, but the likelihood is you grew up seeing it. You learned it from your parents or from somebody before. Well, that happened with your emotions too. So if you had one of those moments, well, I have. I know you probably have too. You know, one of those moments where you look back at it and you go, gosh, why did I react that way? Why did I respond to that situation that way? Maybe afterwards you looked at it and you gave it a different meaning and you went, gosh, I shouldn't have given it the other meaning. And I remember some of those. Do you? Do you have one from today? Maybe you have one from ages ago. You see, I was set on a very clear path when I was younger. I don't think I was quite a teenager, maybe a preteen. I was playing with my nephews, my two little nephews. Actually, they weren't nephews, but they seemed like nephews. They were my cousins. We were playing at my grandma's house, and I remember one of the two boys broke one of my toys, and I remember being so enraged. You know, the kind of enraged where you look back at it afterwards and you think to yourself, was that in me? Was that type of enraged anger in me? And I don't know if I hit him or if I just grabbed him and threw him aside, or I don't know what I did. I don't even think I got caught. I don't think that was the case, but I remember being so angry, but not at him. I was so angry because in that moment was the first time that I had ever experienced rage, and I was not in control. And it was terrible, but in hindsight, it set me on a path. It set me into motion in a new direction. And I do remember that was one of the earliest moments where I started to realize, holy cow, I've got to learn to control that. And in that moment, I remember I gave myself a never again. Never again. I'm not ever going to be enraged like that again. I will learn how to manage that. Because I didn't like it. I didn't like how I felt. I didn't like what I had created and who I had created from the inside out. And so I chose not to do it again. And I gave myself that never again moment because somehow, in some way, as a little preteen young man, I realized that I didn't like that, didn't want to deal with it ever again. But it was defining. Now, there were a lot of things that have happened since then, but learning that we do our emotions because nobody can make me feel anything. I could have very easily given it a different meaning. I could have said, that cousin of mine made me feel this way. But he didn't make me feel that way. He broke my toy or something. But it wasn't that he made me feel any way. I could have chosen to feel a different way. But I didn't know how, and nobody had taught me. So I had to learn. And that's the case with each of our emotions. We have to learn. We have to go in and learn how to do some of them better, because up to this point, you may have just been operating off of autonomic function, off of your blinking, off of your heart beating, and you didn't choose to tell them to beat or to blink, but they do. And so you don't think about it. However, if you were to go into yoga or some meditation training, they would teach you to learn to control your breathing and your heart rate and other things that you can learn to get in the way of that autonomic function. So realize this, and this is this sweet, sweet and bitter truth. You do your emotions. I don't care what emotion it is. Doesn't matter. Doesn't make a difference which emotion it is. And you have practiced doing it so well that you can give meaning to situations in the blink of an eye before you even realize what's going on. And so some of those emotions that you're addicted to, yes, I did say it, you are addicted to some of those emotions that you do, and you have to learn to get in the way of those autonomic responses where you realize, or maybe you don't realize, that you have lost control. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but that is indeed the case. Sometimes you're addicted to an emotion because you feel a certain way from it. You find that it meets your human needs, maybe all 6 of them, and that's why you keep doing it. And because of that, you've forgotten how to get in the way of that emotion, where at one point that emotion could have been incredibly valuable to you. And it might, and probably is, going to continue to be valuable to you. But you've got to learn how to use that tool better so that it is not something that you have no control over. But realize this, we do our emotions. I'll leave you with that, and if you know somebody that needs to hear this message today, please share this podcast with them and let them know, and hopefully it'll help change their life. For those of you out there that are afraid because this is new information to you, I'm sorry, but please be brave. Be courageous. Step up. For those of you that are against this, I'm sorry, it's still the truth. It is still absolutely true. You may be bad at doing the emotion that you have no control over, but it's still true. And you may need some practice. And you know what? There are lots of people in the world that are really good at managing that emotion that you might have a challenge with. And by no means am I saying I'm perfect at all of these, but I do practice them a bunch. And those people that know me understand and realize that I do practice them a bunch. And my closest to me know that I fail just as much as anybody else, because we're here to experience, not to be perfect, but to experience each of these emotions. And sometimes you're going to be great at it, and sometimes you're going to fail at it. But without practice, you won't get better, just like anything. We'll see you on the next podcast. Take care. Happiness is a choice. Sadness is a choice. All emotions are a choice. Sometimes doing our emotions doesn't seem like it's our choice, but it is. You have control. You are the captain of your ship, and you must learn how to be the best captain you can be. Let me show you how. Pick up your free copy of my new book, Every Minute, at everyminutebook.com.